question, ladies and gentlemen. Where are the next billion-dollar companies coming from? And the answer might be from Russia. Startup scene has grown significantly during the past couple of years. But which industry clusters are the most promising ones? What kind of possibilities are there for investors or for companies? And this is what we are going to find out now. Mr. Vekselberg, or Viktor, if I may.
Of course, Viktor, it's easy.
Thank you. You are one of the biggest industrialists in the whole of Europe and in the whole of world. And it would be nice to hear, what are you focusing on when you decide where to invest in?
This is a simple and difficult question. I think a simple answer, of course, when I observe the new investment opportunity, I am thinking about the profit. I'm thinking about how I can make money.
Yeah. Indeed. Could you, where's your focus? What do you think? What do you read? Who do you meet? Something?
Of course, I can to share with all audience a long story about my business activities. Sometimes this is very opportunistic investment because we see some window where you can to use opportunity, particularly in Russia. When we pass all that story last 20 years, we get a few numbers. This is example. For example, investment in the metallurgical sector or in oil sector, which was very successful. And at the same time, in the last 10 years, we start to think in more long-term base and to try to make analysis what's the best structure of our portfolio investment it should be. And this time we decided to make some right balance between the basic industry and let's say high-tech industry, or the venture capital industry. And we try to share our risk between this industry. We try to share our risk between the country. And today we have the multinational portfolio, we have the multinational company, we have the different investment in the mining sector, energy sector, high-tech sector. And I would like to say this should be all time in your mind is thinking how to achieve the right balance between your investment.
Yeah. And recently I read that you invested in solar energy.
Yes, solar, this is a good example that one hand we see that today a lot of investor is false because today this is industry significant debatability from regulation, country by country, region by region. But at the same time, I believe that alternative energy, including solar industry, has few good future. And I would like to add that particularly in some specific technology, like PV technology in solar industry, was created by Russian scientists 30 years ago. And I believe that Russia still has very advanced scientist capability to make improvement in the solar technology. And I believe it will achieve a good result.
Okay. Well, Pekka, you have invested in European and also Russian startup companies. What is your formula for success?
No, well, of course, my investment is tiny compared to brother Viktor, but it's a very simple formula. I always invest on the cases where I can add something else than funding. I have always said in Russia or everywhere that I don't look like an angel, but I'm an angel investor. So there needs to be some other element than just the funding. Secondly, I always invest on the projects which I see an international growth. So I will never invest either in Finland or in Russia. If somebody wants to be the most beautiful boy or girl in Moscow, it's not good enough. Russia is a big country, but 2% of the world market. I want that the innovation goes for rest 90-80%. And then thirdly, I invest on good people. I want to see some craziness on the eyes of the people. Entrepreneurs, not too much of craziness, but some.
Let's talk about Skolkovo. It's a Russian Federation level program for startups. It all started 5 years ago. Pekka, into what kind of program it has grown into?
No, well, first of all, whatever we say, it's just promotion. The only good thing is to go to Skolkovo booth and see we have 48 companies here. If those companies make sense, then Skolkovo makes sense. That's the thing. But of course, Skolkovo is a combination of higher education. We have a school together with MIT. We have like Tekes, which is the Skolkovo Foundation supporting startup companies. And then we have a whole village. So it is, let's say, quite broad setup.
1,400 companies in Skolkovo at the moment. Viktor, could you tell us a little bit about the results? What kind of companies, what kind of buzz you are having at the moment?
So first of all, I would like to say a few words about the Skolkovo, what Skolkovo is. Skolkovo is this, for us, this ecosystem. This is the right balance between the key elements, what we would like to set up and create. This included university, this included startups company, this included how we called our key partner, is a major player of some industry, which I hope will help us to provide connection between early stage and research and the real market. This is, of course, money. What we would like to place there, it's venture capital funds, banks who are looking to invest of our company. And finally, but not less important, this is city. We would like to build a real environment where people will be live and work. It will be specific city, new city for Russia, which right level social support, medical support, some cultural activities. And I hope we're already on the middle way where we'll come to present to all people that will achieve that one. We have the 5 clusters, 5 priorities area. This is IT sector, this is energy efficiency sector, nuclear research, space research, and biotech and biomed industry. This is, of course, Russia has a very advanced area. Like I strongly believe that Russia still have good high education, and we have the good mathematician, physical, good high school students. This is give us opportunity to be very advanced in the software development and IT sector. This is our, maybe today is the most priority, but the rest cluster, it's move well because Russia still have good technology in the nuclear sector and space sector.
Yeah. What about the results? Anything that you have seen that might just be the next $1 million company?
I would like to say that we're very young, but even today it's a total revenue of our startups company. But I would like to say this is not industrial company. Company not allowed to produce on that territory any industrial production. This is only early stage and an IP product. But even of that limitation, our company today to produce around billion revenue by euros. And we have today around like 13,000 employees for this is 1,000 company. This is a visible part of Russian high-tech industry and innovation industry. More like around like 100 companies already to sell product outside to Russia. And I believe it's a very important element of our project. This is openness, transparency, and international quality. For us, it's critical. Our project to be combination between Russian and international experience. We believe that this will be key of our success.
Okay. Hey, there is an example you would like to show to the audience. Let's have a look.
Dear all, my name is Kate and I am CEO of Exathlete project. Exathlete is the exoskeleton for rehabilitation that helps people after injuries or stroke to speed up the rehabilitation process. Exathlete automatically repeats the natural pattern of walking, and the system control allows to set up this height on the length of the step for comfortable walking up and down the stairs, stepping over the obstacles and walking along the angled surfaces. Exathlete helps for neurological and orthopedic disorders for people after injuries and strokes, and also is very good for social adaptation. The market is huge. Our clients are clinics and wheelchair users. For example, in Europe, it's 1% of wheelchair users. Could you just imagine it's 8 million people, and 2 of them could improve their quality of life using Exathlete as the everyday equipment for rehabilitation. So now we are finishing R&D process, and we start the clinical trials on the European market. Our financial partners are Skolkovo Foundation and Biofond of Russian Venture Corporation. So we've already fundraised $1.5 million, and we need $5 million more for entry the market for European markets. So Slush is the very good place to meet the partners and investors. Some words about the team. It's 20 programmers, scientists, and engineers that are working on more than 15 years on the field of the robotics. So we can be sure that the product will be perfect. So, and while I was describing the project, so you could see how our ambassador, Exathlete ambassador, just improved the quality of life because he now could even prepare the coffee for his girlfriend. So meet him.
Pekka, what would you like to tell us about this company?
I just want to give you an example of this, because it's a combination of different types of science. There is a very advanced robotics behind it. There is a lot of the material technology behind it, and it's all about the actual product is to get 8 million people to walk. So it's and it's really truly example of an international market product. There is nothing. The problems are the same, humans are the same, whether it's Russia, Finland, or USA, and it's a good example. And this is an example what you can see in Skolkovo booth also.
Yeah. Russia is a huge market, I guess 10 different time zones, if I'm right. But anyway, companies appreciate political stability and predictability. Victor, I need to ask, how safe a place is Russia to do business?
I think the question, I think that there is some famous image about Russia. This is unpredictable country. It's difficult for make serious investment, but look at me. I hope a very successful management. Yeah, it's a businessman. And believe me, we have the same environment, business environment for Russian international company. And I'm personal, all my international friends and businessmen who make investment in Russia, it's maybe the dominated part of them very successful. Of course, Russia is a young democracy system. Of course, we are not so stable how we would like to be. Of course, particularly now, we have the difficult time with some strengths between Russia and the EU and the Western world. But believe me, I would like to say that this is this is too much to say about the risk, really. Yeah, you really can be in Russia and to manage. Russia would like to be open, and Russia is open. Yeah, it's and management.
As a European, I must say that I have a very practical view on this. Of course, if you do a massive infrastructure investments, you might analyze the risk differently. But when I'm doing investment for knowledge, startup, 10, 20, 30, even 200 people somewhere in Russia, I don't see major risk because the knowledge is anywhere in the heads of the people, and even everything would go wrong, we can build a structure where we can use the talent of Russia and still get it to the international market. So I think we have to put a clear difference between old capital-intensive businesses and then the knowledge businesses.
Okay, but Victor, if you look like 1 year, 2 years, time till 2016, 2017, because the domestic economy has suffered in Russia. Is that going to increase the risk of political instability?
No, of course, the economy today is in Russia not so strong and not so healthy. It will be some connection between political situation and economy situation. But at the same time, I'm personally very optimistic because I see that Russian government consists of the very young, well-educated, Western principle, democracy principle, market-oriented the people. And I believe that Russia capable to pass that time and to back for growing economy. When it will be happen? It will be asked, does it will be happen first quarter next year? I'm a little pessimistic, but on the long view, mid-term, I believe that Russia is a good market and good opportunity for investors.
Well, let's talk about cooperation still a few words. Last summer, many companies who are here in Slush visited your Startup Village event in Moscow, and many companies from Russia have now arrived here to Slush. But what else could you do to increase the cooperation you also mentioned before between Finland and Russia, or Europe and Russia?
I just would like to say the Russian sentence. The better one time to see is 10 times to hear. I really would like to invite all of you who are interested to cooperate with Russia with our Startup Village Forum, which one time a year happened, and this year it was more like 10,000 audience. And I'll give you some example which show you some international connection and relation. We invited many international companies, and we invited all key international ambassadors for our Startup Village event. I personally don't believe that the people will come with this particular difficult time, but I would like to say all key ambassadors, Americans, Italian, Germany, Finland, Japan, South Korea, all of them be with us. Why? Because world believe that it's politicians come and out, but people, young people, communication, scientist relation, it for long term. And I would like to share that believing with you and to say to you, this is our main strategic goals, to be international, open, and to cooperate on the best practice with all experience. Particularly with Finland is a good example. The Finland is a small country, but they achieves a huge success in innovation sector. We would like to take that experience. We have the number jointly project with Turku Science Park, with Agency of Techers, and cooperation with university, exchange program of the students, particular cross-border programs. All of that to give us just like believing that everything works, and we really believe that we can achieve a good result together.
There is an example of cooperation you would like to show us, so let's have a look.
Hi, welcome. Мой терветуло. Привет всем. Добро пожаловать. My name is Christina. I'm originally from Russia. I've been living in Finland for a while, and I'm program manager of Robo. Robos are designed to educate children, and I think even grown-ups, coding, programming, robotics, physics, and in a way how technology actually works. Robo came to Finland and to Europe from Russia, from St. Petersburg. Now they require a lot of work, hard work to get into the European level. We do a lot of work with Skolkovo They help us to develop the product and give us advice on the international markets, but also we have a lot of good specialists, professional specialists who are experienced in international business, experienced in high technology products. So, Skolkovo.
Yeah, I want to comment this. This is a good example of the company where it's all about people. And no matter how great is the innovation, what is the robotics, but if there are not the linkage between people and Robo is one educational software and hardware robotics part, but I hope that there would be many others. And really, seeing is believing. You have to see what are the opportunities and how the collaboration works. And Kristina is a good example of such ambassador of Russian new generation.
Pekka, last year you rented an Airbus from Finnair to take 200 friends to Startup Village. Are you going to do the same again next June?
Yeah, of course. I actually contacted Pekka Vauramo yesterday.
Okay.
So what is the biggest Airbus what he has? He has an Airbus 350. So yeah, 2nd of June we will go there, at least with one plane, depending how many planes they have available. So you are all warmly welcome to come and see. Yeah.
Viktor, it's time for the final words. What would you like to say?
I would like to say that 5 years ago, we started to realize our idea about the Skolkovo. It was not like virtual greenfield. It was real greenfield. There were all the grass, cows over there. Now is a real city. Now this is almost all infrastructure there. Now I would like to say that we pass all critical time. Now the Skolkovo to give the most important believing, the first of all, of course, for Russian young generation. If they would like to be success, then can be success in Russia, particularly with support of Skolkovo.
Pekka.
Yeah, well, I'm a very simple guy. So I have understood that money-making, important part is to buy relatively cheap and sell with the high price. It's kind of a basic formula. And I honestly believe that right now, because of the currencies and so forth, and the timing, if you find the right company, if you find the right technology, what you think you can impact, now it's the right time to act. And the best thing, the only way how to see it is to see it by yourself. Yeah. And you are all warmly welcome to Startup Village, because it's your way to see what is good, and then it's up to you how do you proceed.
Gentlemen, thank you for this conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you.
Tuolla Media Lounge on niinku tossa päässä, mutta